What's up, gamers?
Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
At the end of 2017, we were all filled with a tiny glimmer of hope that the mistakes made during that year would somehow, some way, allow game developers and publishers to take a good, long look in the mirror and say to themselves, if we just make good games and stop trying to ruin them by pleasing executives and shareholders who have no idea what gamers want, maybe we can reverse this ship and win back the joy and adoration of the gaming community at large.
Towards the end of 2017, we all witnessed what should have been the biggest indication to these companies that what they were doing was wrong, and that fans would actually react to the choices being made by doing the only thing that could hurt these companies, not buying their game. Oh, and also coming together online to make a big enough stink that even the most casual buyers would start second-guessing themselves on purchasing a title that would have been a natural fit for their blind buying in years past.
Sadly though, Battlefront 2, for all its terrible mistakes with microtransactions and boring yet beautiful gameplay, wasn't the final nail in the coffin for these types of bold and risky strategies that go into the monetization of any modern AAA games. It was quite possibly the loudest, most public protest we've seen in the modern era of gaming. And just like anything else that goes wrong in our fucked up reality, it was pretty much forgotten as soon as the marketing for new games went into full effect. Sure, it's not entirely wrong to say that the wounds caused by EA and Battlefront 2 would take much longer to heal than those caused by mistakes made in years past. And with every new announcement and release that came and went this year, there did seem to be a much more reserved, a much more cautious attitude towards games that would have typically been seen as easy wins.
But even in gaming, history seems to repeat itself. And although there were plenty of highlights this year, gaming in 2018 ended on such a sour, stinky note that it might actually eclipse the mistakes of 2017 in ways that none of us could have predicted. How the fuck do large developers and publishers keep making not only the same mistakes over and over again, but manage to also surprise us with new and improved mistakes as well?
It's astonishing!
We've already seen the best that gaming had to offer this year thanks to shows like the Game Awards.
What was that one that you never even heard of?
Oh, the one on CBS? Yeah.
Who cares?
Who gives a shit? Now it's time to get down into the shit. Just like Grandpa did in Vietnam. It's time to talk about the worst in gaming for 2018. This is the 2018 TUGS. Here we go!
Oh, hey, fellow gamers, it's me, your favorite 8-foot, tall ass-eating back again to bring you some of the awards for the worst in gaming. Video games can't get off the ground these days without an amazing trailer to back them up. Then again, some trailers overpromise and underdeliver, or they're just pre-programmed cringe fest to attempt to show you how you should play the game instead of just showing the game. No, we shouldn't let this happen. They need to be called out for tricking us into thinking that the games they're releasing were or are going to be better than what was shown. So here are the nominees for the most deceptive trailer in 2018. And your winner is Battlefield V. Is that for vagina? I don't know. Putting in initial reactions of one armed lady fighting in the front lines of WW2 aside, this trailer was fucking awful for plenty of other reasons. There's one thing we already knew, what we're getting. And we all know what Battlefield looks like as far as graphics and gameplay are concerned. This was one confusing cause. It's not only led to people to believe there's gonna be some kind of altered fantasy version of World War II, but it was going to be more theatrical than what was possible based on the last release, which is exactly like this release. It was made worse when the game decided It was made worse when the game itself decided to jump back and forth between accurate. It was made worse when the game itself decided to jump back and forth between accurate storytelling and completely made up scenarios. Pick a fucking side, Battlefield, and stop trying to pull the wool over people's eyes of an insane mix of gameplay and theatrics. We all know what the game is, just make a version of the formula and just make it fucking work and perfect it. It's hard for us to say this because we're huge fans of previous Battlefield games. I mean, like Shibby 2142, Battlefield 2142, but fucking Battlefield 5 killed any excitement all any of us had for a once great franchise. You don't like it, don't buy the fucking game. Well, EA, no one did. That's why it's on sale for like half off.
I'd like to retroactively apologize for giving Shibby lines that he can't read, but we're just gonna tear through it. Sports games are a mixed bag when it comes to the video game experience. Despite being one of the best sellers for any publisher, there's really not much to get excited about when it comes to games based on actual physical sports in the traditional sense. Typically, these games are just the exact same product released over and over again every year with very minor tweaks and updates to the team rosters. Now, of course, there's the obvious dick move of turning these types of games into money printing machines thanks to the addition of predatory microtransactions over the past couple of years, but even with those additions, the numbers don't lie, and people who love sports will continue to buy this shit regardless, because for most of them, it might be the only video game experience that they actually give a shit about. Why would I want to play as some fake dude in a Western for 80 hours in a meticulously crafted environment when I can make believe that my football career didn't end when I left high school? Fuck you! You're the problem, not us! Now, it's not all just sports involving balls, though. It's a bit odd. But somehow, companies even screw up games based on racing cars, which has got to be one of the hardest things to screw up when it comes to gaming. These things used to be tech demos. This year saw some of the same bad games released to sports fans, but also some horrible surprises as well. So here are your nominees for Worst Sports Game of 2018. And your winner. Fuck this game. The Crew 2. Now, viewers, I don't even know where to fucking begin with this garbage fire. And I know we're gonna get shit for choosing the Crew 2 over predatory trash like FIFA 19, which does the bare minimum every year to just keep raking in that cash. But Crew 2 was just the most disappointing goddamn release of the year for me. And yeah, I know I'm taking this personally, and my viewpoints shouldn't dictate who the winners are, but this isn't a real award show, so fuck off. This game is trash. It's a sequel to a game that actually figured out what it wanted to be towards the end of its life cycle, so you could safely assume that the sequel would take everything they learned from that and put it into a new version. Is that so hard? Well, they didn't. Somehow the graphics were worse. Somehow there was even less multiplayer fun than the original. Somehow everything was just worse. It's honestly baffling. And most confusing of all is that this game and its predecessor were marketed as some sort of car racing MMO. But the world you're driving in was completely devoid of real, actual online people. It shouldn't be that hard to find friends or race other people in a racing game, let alone an MMO style racing game. Also, progression was broken as fuck, the grinding was boring as fuck, and I'm not even sure that they fixed anything because I was so pissed off by this game that I swore to myself I would never play it again. Now, it also didn't help that Forza Horizon 4 came out a few months later and just completely shit all over Crew 2, ruining any chance of redemption. Now, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, and I mean it more than almost any other game this year, fuck you, Crew 2. Fuck you.
Oh, while those real sports have had decades to establish themselves as legitimate, esports are still in their relative infancy, emotionally and in terms of time. It's a bit harder for the old guard to take them seriously because it seems clear that to them, there must be some form of physicality to whatever it is you're doing. But even though it's not as apparent in esports because you're usually just watching the screen and seeing what's happening, these athletes do have to have some small kind of physicality and a hell of a lot of mental capacity. Really though, that doesn't matter because esports are an easy punching bag. It's easy to point at the people who play, promote, commentate, or are in any way active in the esports community and call them dorks and losers. The only time anyone gets any respect is when they start making money. It's kind of sad. But on the other hand, esports in general still has a long fucking way to go in regards to how their players act, how teams handle themselves, and how the organizations involved react to problems internally. But who are we fucking kidding? Real sports is literally fucked up in every way possible when it comes down to laying down punishment for the terrible actions of their players and owners alike, unless, I don't know, maybe a player smoked weed or something. So on the one hand, fuck traditional sports and the older, greasier, wrinklier, boomer generations that hold them in such high regard. But also, fuck esports too, because they're under a goddamn microscope right now with people looking for any little screw up, and their players, they make it a whole hell of a lot easier for that to happen, especially this past year. Here are your nominees for worst esports moment. The winner is live cheating. Say what you want about obscene hand gestures, slurs, rage quitting, and subpar production. There was nothing as cringeworthy yet hilarious as watching a video of someone freaking the fuck out because they had been caught cheating during one of the most important events of their career. We all got to watch as someone's lifelong journey through competitive esports was ended publicly because he cheated. It was just so perfect. It was a live investigation on stream, one where you actually got to see him panic and desperately try to hide the evidence, to no avail. Worst of all, it caused his entire team to just completely fold in the wake of the event. He didn't just fuck himself, he fucked his team. He fucked the competition for the game, and he fucked esports in general, all in one fell swoop. Will we ever see something so glorious from esports again? Almost definitely. Will it live up to this, though? I'm not sure. But he deserves something for this moment of worldwide entertainment. A tuggy. It just sucks for him that it's a tuggy instead of anything else.
You know what, Elliot? Role-playing games used to be just for dorks and losers, but these days reality is so fucked that not only are we all dorks and losers ourselves, but we all need to escape from this daily bullshit. In the gaming world, I'm not just a 6'8", 110-pound giraffe who recently gave birth, like April. I can be whatever I want to be. Usually, I want to be a petite elf with big old titties who can seduce anyone around her, whether they're from a medieval fantasy times or an alien with 3 giant space domes. Ugh. Sadly, because of our scathing reviews of Ass Effect last year, my options are more limited when it comes to my sick, sad fantasy world. But there's still some stinkers here and there that we all gravitate towards. If I smell it, and it smells like ass. Whew. It looks like ass, so I want a piece of it. Okay, I'm completely losing focus here, but wait, what are we talking about? Oh yes, worst RPG of the year. Winner this year, it pains me to say it, Fallout 76. So here's the thing. There's a lot to say about Fallout 76, so just wait.
There are plenty of things that can make a game bad, and we've certainly seen how games that could have been great were ruined by decisions somewhere down the line. Now, some games don't have a place in a yearly release schedule because they just don't make sense compared to other stuff that's coming out. Some games hit snags during development and are finally just tossed to the consumer as a half-baked cash grab. But what if no one gave a shit about your video game release in the first place? Is it worse to have a game that everyone hates, but one that they still talk about? Or is it worse to have a game that creates no conversation at all? If people are upset, angry, frustrated, pissed off, or blatantly mocking your game, you'd have to assume that it's because, at the very least, they had even the slightest hope that the game could have been good. When no one says anything, no one buys it, or people don't even think it's worth the effort to make fun of, that's when you've really failed. This category encompasses a bit of everything, but mostly a general stench coming from the titles that keep consumers far, far away. Here are the nominees for most pointless release of the year. Shaq Fu, holy shit. And the winner's Battlefield V. And we've already been over what makes Battlefield V a huge disappointment to the series, and there are no shortage of think pieces and articles available that break down what went wrong as far as storytelling and mechanics go. But the worst thing going for this game was the fact that once the dust had settled from the online arguments, there was nothing. Pure silence. There's seriously nothing worse for a video game than to have no one talking about it. At least if your game has a few problems, or the community's upset at certain things when it's out, people will be talking about it. There was no discussion about Battlefield V when it was finally released. And that actually leads to the bigger problems with this game. Even if it were something that people were looking forward to and not just a reskin of the same game they just released, the street date changed by a month, and then EA doubled down on their wonky-ass release schedule. You need a fucking math degree to know when this game comes out. Some people got to play it in early November, some people got to play it a week later, some people got it on this day, some people got it on that day. You're getting a game, you're getting a game, you're not getting a game. No one knew what the fuck was going on unless they had laid the money out for a pre-order, and even then, it was confusing. If no one knows when your game's actually coming out, you got a big fucking problem. Well, okay, I mean, I guess the bigger problem was that once it was officially available for everyone, no one wanted it. But how did we get there?
You unappreciative fucks these days, you have it too goddamn easy. If you're younger than 30, you haven't experienced real pain in gaming. Games weren't always just glorified movies where you could press a button or perform some menial task to progress to the next level. Multiplayer didn't exist, but most of the time in multiplayer games, you're still rewarded even if you play like shit. And points, unlocks, shit like that, they just fly around on the screen like a visual serotonin injection, non-stop. They gotta make sure you keep playing. Most games these days, they need to be accessible to even the dumbest people who might pick them up. You know your dumbest friend? He has to play this fucking game, and that's why they suck. Everything, it's just more cinematic. Just play the fucking movie, show him a pretty picture, let him walk around for a while. That's not gaming, fuck you. I might sound like an old man saying this, but games used to be hard. Thankfully, some still are, and those who can conquer them actually get that sacred sense of actual pride and accomplishment. Sure, some of these nominees are memes, but all these games are tough in different ways. So quit whining and start playing over and over and over and over again until you finally fucking feel something for once, you soulless casual. Here are the nominees for the This Game is Too Hard award. Your easy winner, Dead Cells. Now, okay, it's a pretty fair contest between all those nominees, especially when you're up against games like Dark Souls Remastered, which is just a remastered version of one of the hardest modern games, and of course Super Seducer, which is probably a really hard game for a bunch of gaming dorks because the entire goal of that game is to get women to like you. But hey, Dead Cells is Dead Cells is a good pick because it's actually fucking hard, and it's not a bad thing. The game plays really well, and it rewards you the more times that you play it. Now, the problem for most people is that it's a roguelike. So if you fail, it's back to the beginning for you, and that makes it very frustrating. It makes it almost more frustrating than last year's winner, Cuphead. Dead Cells, it's awesome, but we're willing to bet that a good majority of people who actually bought it still haven't finished it, let alone beat the first few bosses. If you got a dozen hours or so to kill by constantly replaying the same thing over and over and over again, and then finally feeling good because you're maybe getting a little bit better at it, definitely check out Dead Cells. But just don't assume it's a walk in the park, because the game's going to kick your ass.
Over the past couple of years, there's been an obvious rise in gameplay over realistic graphics. This isn't a bad thing, and a lot of it has to do with the nostalgia coming from gamers like us who grew up playing 8-bit and 16-bit games. We're sure it also has a lot to do with the nostalgia of people who are making them. Take The Messenger, for example. It's a great game that came out in 2018, but it's also very obviously and very heavily inspired by Ninja Gaiden.
Gaiden!
God damn it!
Swine! Keep going!
Still a great game though. There are plenty of other examples. Our friend Dave Oshry just released a game called Dusk, which looks like shit, but plays like gold. The main thing here is that indie devs get a free pass on creating good experiences with not so good graphics. And that's almost always a design by choice anyway.
It's an artistic choice.
I like it.
Sorry, Dave.
Yeah. But when it comes to AAA titles from major studios who try to keep pushing the limits of photorealism in gaming, there's a lot less wiggle room, especially if it looks like they tried, but failed. We're reaching a point where games look damn near perfect in regards to that realism, but there's some titles out there that try to evolve and just can't. These are those titles, and these are the nominees for worst graphics for AAA game this year. And the winner is Fallout 76. Remember when we said we would get to Fallout 76? Well, this is sort of getting to it, but we're still not there yet, everyone. So let's move on.
Well, listen, we all used to hate DLC. A few years back, it seemed as though these companies were just milking us dry over our devotion to certain titles. If we liked the game, wouldn't we pay a little bit more for some additional bonus content without the devs having to create an entire sequel? You've all got wallets, right? Couldn't the fans pay a little bit more for some silly costumes and goofy hats that wouldn't make sense in the base game? It's quite cynical, but they were fucking right. Now, though, it's just normal to have DLC baked into a game release because, for the most part, it does actually extend the life of a game as long as it's done right. It isn't just a worthless cash grab. Sadly, we're not here to talk about all the good DLC that was released this year and actually enhance the games that it was released for. We're here to expose the shit and hopefully teach you, at least, to be more careful when deciding whether or not to buy the Ultimate Edition of something, which is essentially just pre-ordering DLC, sight unseen. Here are the nominees for Worst DLC of the Year. And the winner is Red Dead 2 Online. That's right, motherfuckers. Oh, baby, we're gonna get a lot of shit for this one. And again, look, this is another good time to mention that this award show it's complete bullshit. But the members of the Gaming Academy upstairs, can't see them, they have spoken. And Red Dead 2 Online is your winner for worst DLC, whether you like it or not. Now, sure, it doesn't cost anything up front, and sure, it's technically still in beta. But the word beta is just an easy shield to hide behind for game devs these days. And the online mode, it works, sort of. Now, we did say it didn't cost anything up front, and that's true. But Rockstar, despite all their goodwill, is known to have one of the most predatory microtransactions in the world. It looks like Red Dead Online will be no different, since it's basically impossible to actually earn any in-game currency. Also, why the hell would you want to grind out all the boring shit in this online world? It's just horse racing and redoing missions that you've already played. If you think you're going to be able to live in a living, breathing version of the Old West with real people walking around and talking, well, this ain't it, Chief. This ain't it, hoss. At least not yet. It's going to take a hell of a lot of work to make this online world interesting and compelling for the next few years, because Red Dead doesn't even have the clear advantage to do goofy shit like GTA Online does. It's just horse racing and missions set in the 1890s. Only 1890s, kids. Remember these. Oh, and if you aren't a goddamn master of the controls, good fucking luck playing any of the team deathmatch style missions. It's goddamn frustrating. So there. Let the hate flow through you.
Hello, humble viewer. I am back again to bring you a category that is near and dear to my heart. I wouldn't be able to be here today if it wasn't for shooter games, and a good shooter game is probably the pinnacle of modern gaming. But there's nothing worse than a shooter game done wrong. There are many ways these can fail. Bad controls, crappy story, constant glitches, or just lazy development. One thing's for sure, that if you're a big publisher who puts out a terrible shooter, your company is in trouble. Now let's get to some people in trouble. Here are your nominees for worst shooter video game of the year. Your winner is Battlefield 5.
Oh, sweet.
We've already read the long, sad eulogy for Battlefield 5, and it shouldn't be surprising that it took home this award. Plus, just based on the numbers, none of you are playing it, so continue talking about this sad release is just giving it more attention than it actually deserves. So let's move on and take a look into the future of gaming for a moment.
With a plethora of releases already at our fingertips, it's sometimes easy to lose track of all the games that'll be coming out next year. And sometimes we forget because there's just so much media to consume out there in the world these days. Sometimes we forget because game companies decided to move release dates around, and they do it frequently. You know what? They do it way more than any other medium, and fuck them for it. Sometimes we just forget because the game is really nothing to be excited about, or people outright hate the very idea of its existence. Whatever the reason, there are some games scheduled to come out next year that people seem to not give a shit about. And these are those games. Here are the nominees for least anticipated game of 2019.
Hey, look at
And your winner, as if there was any mystery to it. Get ready to stand up and cheer from behind your computer desk. Say it with me. The winner for least anticipated game is Diablo Immortal. Now, hey, listen, don't you ugly pieces of shit have phones? Don't you want to experience a game you've grown up with by smashing your filthy fingers all over a smudged screen while you're surrounded by the scent of your latest bowel movement as you sit atop the only throne you'll ever own outside of a virtual world? Diablo Immortal had to have one of the most offensive, backhanded, sad, pathetic, terrible, no good, shitty announcements we've ever seen. Now, I'll be honest. We were actually pretty excited to give this award to Crackdown 3 for the second year in a row. Because as you're all aware, it was so unanticipated last year that they actually moved the fucking thing back another year. Yet here we are, bitching about Blizzard for taking the stage, their yearly event for fans, and presenting them with something that no one asked for and no one wants. A reskinned version of a Chinese mobile game that takes everything you love about the franchise and throws it away for a quick buck. And a game that'll never come to PC. No, this is not some kind of late April Fool's joke, dear fan. This is reality. And you finally fucking realize that gaming companies, they don't care about you or your fandom, just how much money you got in your wallet or your parents' credit card. Having said that, this game will probably be popular enough for Blizzard and Activision to port more games to mobile instead of creating experiences on consoles and computers, so I guess we're just all fucked. See you on the toilet, nerds.
Oh, would you look at that? We finally made it all the way to the final category before Shibby launches into one last agonizingly long review. His review of the entire year of gaming.
So the next category is obviously for worst game of the year, but this year we wanted to do something different, something special, as a way to say thanks to the people responsible for the existence of this channel. No, it's not Shibby and Ian, and no, it's not me or Elliot. The people who made it possible, that's you. You made it possible for us to leave the grip of our old company, venture out, start something new without going completely fucking broke right out of the gate. Now, okay, step aside people who think it's about them that aren't Patreon supporters.
Hey, get out of here, Todd.
Stop. Todd Howard, just leave. We're talking about Patreon supporters. Yes, you, the people who donated money to our Patreon and became members on YouTube.
Unless you didn't, in which case we don't mean you.
We want to take a moment in the midst of all this chaos to give you a very warm and heartfelt thank you for your support and hopefully your continued support, because we have ideas. They just cost money. Without you, there wouldn't be a TUGS this year, and that's a fact.
I have a baby.
You're not part of this. Get out of here. You haven't even contributed to the Patreon. No, stay here.
As a small way to say thanks, we decided to leave the fate of some of this award show, and specifically the coveted Worst Game of the Year award, up to the Patreon supporters. Democracy in action.
Mm-hmm.
So while writing...
No, pay to play.
Yeah, sorry.
It's American democracy in action.
Plutocracy.
Citizens United.
So while writing this, we reached out to the fans, the ones who pay, and not only asked for help in choosing who the nominees would be for some of the previous awards tonight, but also who should win Worst Game of the Year. So the category is now called Patreon's Choice for Worst Game of the Year.
Sponsored.
Yeah. Thank you again, unless you didn't pay, and here are your nominees.
Shibby and Ian, say it with me. Your winner this year for Patreon's Choice Worst Game of 2018 is Fallout 76. We haven't been checking the mic, so if anything blows out, deal with it. We weren't going to make this episode, but we did. Here is the prize this year. We couldn't gain access to the golden Gillette razor, so we have the actual Tuggy. It's a fist gripping around a tight cock that will just stroke this game's ego for the rest of time.
Put it up your ass. It's going right up Todd Howard's butthole.
Yeah.
And it's going to stay there.
All right. Now
until he fixes the Fallout franchise.
Probably won't happen. It should be said that 3 out of the 4 people in this room have found some sort of enjoyment out of Fallout 76.
Well, we're still working on this guy.
But it's time to finally face reality and say that this is one of the most fucked up, stupid, ill-advised, sad, fucking money grabs that I've ever seen in gaming. It transcends some of the shit we've seen in the past.
Come on, Todd.
The release of Fallout 76 was eerily reminiscent of No Man's Sky. Only No Man's Sky had the slight advantage of getting some pity because they were an indie developer. Bethesda has no fucking excuse for the absolute piece of shit that they squeezed into their fans' eager mouths. Hell, they just won a lawsuit against Facebook. Fuck you.
An announcement that landed with a thud, confusion over the game's mechanics, a pre-order that would turn out to be misleading, a beta that wasn't even a fucking beta because nothing was changed, and wasn't a marketing play because anyone who played the beta got first-hand experience to just how terrible this game was going to be. It's up to you to fill in the gaps in this game if you can even get it to work properly. It's constantly glitchy, things are always broken, the scaling is shit, the PvP is worthless, the nukes are easy to get, the camp building is pointless. Literally everything about this game is the worst version of what it could be. What the fuck, Todd?
God damn it, Todd. Get up here, Todd.
Take a bow.
I didn't go to the Game Awards, but I'm here for you. It would be nice if he actually was like, shame me. Shame me, boys.
I know I deserve it.
I deserve it. Still, like we said, some people have found happiness in the vast, boring wasteland. But then, even after people had come to terms with the game, tragedy struck. Bethesda put the game on sale during Black Friday for 40% off, just 1 week after the game's initial release. A slap in the face to their most loyal fans. But the slaps didn't stop there. They only got more and more extreme. They were punches now. There are loyal fans who bought this game the day of release. But there are also fans so loyal that they dropped $200 for the highest tiered edition in order to get the mementos that will allow them to remember the moment they first entered this wasteland for years to come.
Suckers!
Sadly, even that was a bait and switch. And people were given trash bags instead of the canvas ones they'd eagerly been waiting to receive.
It's nice, though. You just throw your copy of the game in that bag and you bury it.
You just fucking bury it.
At least 6 feet below the ground. Or else that thing's coming back and reinstalling itself completely.
It comes out of the ground like this. Just T-posing and scooting across the thing.
Yeah, that's all bad, but you know what's worse, Todd? Telling those people to just fuck off and making up lies about how you can't come up with the materials to make them. Well, where am I supposed to find canvas?
I guess I'll go to Alibaba or whatever that fucking site is.
You know where to find it.
Todd.
China. Bethesda customer service literally helped a shitty game turn into one of the worst gaming experiences in modern gaming history. And regardless of how you feel about this title as an actual gameplay experience, this shit is unforgivable. They did finally make things right, though. Well, let's not give them credit until we see those bags in the hands of the fans. But in the process of all that, they actually leaked a bunch of intimate customer data.
Whoops.
Let's just throw a fucking data breach into this pile of shit. Fuck it. Yeah, Bethesda made an oopsie. Todd Howard made a bit of an oopsie. Fucking Todd. And the gaming community may never forgive them for it. But knowing you fucking idiots, you totally will. Mm-hmm. This is gonna repeat itself until we're all dead. In the real Fallout.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to wait to see for next year. Maybe they'll redeem themselves in the greatest redemption that any of us have ever seen in gaming. Probably fucking not!
No.
But also, maybe it will have completely destroyed this company and left everyone behind with no support. 2019 should be real fucking interesting.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
What if the game's just like, by the way, we're shutting the servers off?
Ugh.
Like Cliffy B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we even talk about Radical Heights?
It was nominated. But that was
Radical
one of the
Heights wins the award. I'm going to give the award right now for shortest lifespan.
Short as like I was living the whole year in gaming. And I was like, oh yeah, remember Radical Heights?
Remember I spent $15 on the Founders Pack?
The fucking the Hail Mary of Cliffy B, who then dismantled his company, but was still riding around in private jets, being like, going to New York for the weekend.
Yeah, you should get
Don't worry, guys, Epic's hiring. So
get an accountant, Phil, guy.
Cliffy, Todd, learn from Cliffy's mistakes.
It all comes back to
But
Todd.
hold on, don't go. Where are you going? It's Christmas.
Sit the fuck back down, boy.
It's Christmas time, and you hate your family. We're not done with you yet. No.
Back on the toilet.
Chippy has one final say, and as is tradition, he's here to give you a review. Not about any one game in particular, but about the whole year. Give him a few minutes. Now, he might be rusty, but we all love him anyway. You can actually turn off now if you want. I'm gonna put like 7 ads in between this. Shibby, take it away.
And if you really want to make it last, set that speed to
Put Shibby in slow motion. It's great.
Don't. Do do. Tugs boys and Tugs girls, it's that time of the year that Ricky and Elliot let me stumble back in front of this camera to review the whole year in video games as I see fit. While Tugs might have been canceled, I personally pour one out every week. Because the Tuggies will never be canceled. Until the day Hundar puts a wooden stake through my cold, slender heart. We out here skating fast and eating ass. Well, skate not like Skate 4, which will probably be plagued with microtransactions, loot boxes, online verification cans only, season battle pass, verification cans once again, they have to chug a second time, $2 collector's edition, battle royale mode, and probably a photo of PewDiePie for good measure. Please subscribe. I never thought I'd be standing here. No, not because I thought parenthood would literally kill me, or that Ricky would disown me because I blew up his base in Fallout 76 with a nuclear bomb. No, I never thought I'd be here, standing here, being here in December 2018, saying that Daisy, the original dog-eat-dog looter shooter, would be released in a 1.0 version out of early access after 5 years.
Wait, it came out?
Today. Nothing pisses me off more than how mismanaged this project was. Grab a drink and reminisce with me, viewer. Grab each cheek and go tongue first. Here we go. Remember when Daisy was some unknown mod of Arma 2? Yeah, I remember. I remember putting 100 hours in that shit. Janky movement, horrible collision, bizarre zombie pathing. Finding a gun with ammo was a rarity. Going to Cherno to see who was there in early game PvP at the Balota airstrip. Ooh, spice!
Nobody played this and has any idea what you're talking about, and I thought I told you to review the year.
The real gamers do. Remember when Dean Rocket Hall broke off that project to make a standalone mod of Daisy back in 2013? Yeah, I remember. And that was one of the most exciting announcements for a game I really enjoyed. A man, I believed in because of his work on a mod, not for profit, but passion, moving into a full release with real resources behind him to make a game great again. Said man then gets the sales on a new broken product before early access was even a thing, and then dips. What the fuck? Oh, this is a mess I can't fix. Well, better jet somewhere else to let everyone else figure out this mess. Ugh. Even the random day we're filming this episode, it's a fucking daily reminder of how mismanaged Daisy was. This should have been the slam dunks of slam dunks. Dean Hall and Player Unknown, aka Brennan Green, both coming from Arma background at Bohemia, most likely worked together at some point through Arma 2 because Player Unknown created the Daisy Battle Royale mod, inspired by that Weeb film Battle Royale, which is still sitting in my Netflix to be watched queue, but I can't do shit anymore because I have a baby.
Netflix? Is that the shitty streaming service? Netflix, baby.
Where are all your favorite neck content?
Necking. I digress, viewer, but humor me on this. When Daisy transitioned to standalone, that is when Brennan moved to Arma 3. That is when Sony swooped in and brought him to consult on H1Z1. That is when H1Z1 made King of the Kill. This is when Brendan's consultation period ended and Bluehole hit him up for a brand new Battle Royale concept with a studio to back him. That's when he moves to South Korea in 2016, and in 2017 we have PUBG.
Shut the fuck up!
Not done yet, Ricky. A little zombie wave horde defense mode called Fortnite Save the World, also early access, sees what PUBG is doing, early access, is developing into, and makes an announcement trailer. In this announcement trailer, they literally call out PUBG and how they were inspired by it. Next thing we know, Fortnite Battle Royale, now the biggest fucking game in the world, 200 million players. But Shibby, why this little history lesson? Look, viewer, it's simple. Without Daisy completely fucking up, you would not have Fortnite Battle Royale. Boom. I said it. You wouldn't have Drake. You wouldn't have Fortnite. You wouldn't have your...
Hold on. Don't bring Drake into this. He made gaming cool.
You wouldn't have your flosses and your dabbies. And default skins and battle buses. Dr. Disrespect might still be playing H1Z1 for all I know. It's true. And with Daisy 1.0 released on this very day, 5 years later, no longer early access, it's a Christmas cash grab.
Well, you have to clarify, we're recording this on the 13th or 14th?
13th.
Cool.
Sad. 2018, the year of early access with the king of early access. What a journey. It should be criminal that Steam even allows such trash on its platform still. Cheers, Daisy, you fucking beautiful mess, and the reason for Fortnite Battle Royale. Whew. Oh man, does it feel good to rant again, Ricky?
Get it all out.
Wait, what am I doing here?
You're supposed to talk about 2018.
Oh, okay. You want to know what the worst video game in the year is?
Fallout 76.
Easy. The Culling 2.
Hey, Rob.
This is the first time in my life I've seen a sequel of a game go so poorly that it gets pulled from being sold and forces the relaunch of the original game with an apology of one of the head producers. Sure, players got a refund. Yes, the ethical thing to do. But this number 2 was such a blatant cash grab, and they know it, with less than 250 concurrent players ever launching right around the new season of Fortnite BR. This is the stupidest release I've ever seen in all video games. The original Culling was at least interesting, with presenting a game show idea for Battle Royale with the cheeky announcer that everyone could hear, an end stage with pyrotechnics, the prompter not moving, and a focus on melee combat. Development on the original went from players thinking it was decent enough to the developer constantly making changes that no one asked for and making the game worse until no one was playing anymore. A forced death by bad development. It then releases out of early access in October 2017. Then the developer quit support a couple months after, permanently pulling the plug.
Fucking history lesson on your favorite Battle Royale games? Have you suppressed this for 6 months and you're just now?
I've had some big blue balls. I also have a babe. July 2018 rolls around, boom, Culling 2 released. Total garbage and canceled. Most popular tag for that product on Steam? Meme. 2018 has been a solid year for game studios closing shop. Not something we praise or cheer or want here on TUGS, but it's worth mentioning. One of these studios, Carbine Studios, closed up shop in September. This one hits home for me not because I love WildStar, the namesake game they developed, because I went to their studio multiple times during my time on Machinima Realm. Being a channel that had roots in MMOs, they invited both Hundar and myself down to check out the game a few times during development. Another lovely studio closing up shop is one of our favorites here on TUGS, which we mentioned, Bossfight Productions and our boy Clifford B. Not only was Lawbreakers a failed billion-dollar franchise, but Team TUGS was also one of the top teams in the world on that game because no one played it. Lo and behold, another Battle Royale game, Radical Heights, released. In all actuality, I did not hate this game. I think Ricky kind of liked it too.
Yeah, it's fine.
Basically an 80s rocker man absolute unit joke show game thing with some dude bro busted mechanics of diving into suburbia with an ATM cash grab mechanic. Whatever. It had charm, but it was quickly killed. Bossfight Productions shut down in a very underhanded way, such as many employees find out they no longer have jobs via Twitter. Thanks, Cliffy B.
Open up the private servers, I'll pay.
I already did pay, that Founders Pack. Other notable closures were Visceral, Motiga, Capcom, Vancouver, and Telltale. A lot went down in 2018. Viewers, you know why you're so stupid? Because you keep buying these fucking retro consoles. Not only has Nintendo made millions off this bullshit nostalgia, but now Sony's in on it too with the PlayStation Classic. Stop. Do not buy. Just don't. These consoles with genre-defining games don't live up to the memories you had with them. In most cases, actually run worse. For those of you savvy TUGS boys out there, you can play these retro games. There are many ways to emulate them, and you can get thousands of games on a small Raspberry Pi. Trust me.
Delicious.
Is the preservation of these old games important? Well, yeah, it's the history of video games, but these retro consoles at $100 plus price tag, it ain't it. Chief Keef, pass. SaaS announcement of the year? Without question. The most confusing occurrence in gaming this year, Diablo Immortal. Don't get me wrong. Blizzard is usually on point with nearly every product of theirs, but this one confuses me. Teased on social media prior to BlizzCon that something in the Diablo-verse is looming. These loyal devil worshipping fans out here have not been forgotten.
Hail Satan!
Yeah. While I did not personally go to BlizzCon 2018 because I have a baby and responsibilities now, in 2017 I did. You know how much Diablo was mentioned then? None. It was completely overlooked. But shimmy. You all said Blizzard will deliver something great. BlizzCon 2018. And guess what? A fucking Diablo mobile game developed by a Chinese internet technology company, NetEase, with no set release date. And that is the announcement used to close out your show? What? Is anyone else confused? Because you clearly, you Diablo fans, you know what you want. And you had Blizzard, you allegedly had a Diablo 4 announcement ready, but you pulled it from the show. And then you decide to close out your yearly big fandom show to nearly all fairly hardcore PC fans to announce a mobile version of a beloved franchise that has been underserved for years? Oof. Big oof.
Big oof.
Big oof. Activision Blizzard stock price right now at an all-time low since March 2017.
Time to buy.
Could be a good time to buy.
Why the fucking dip?
While there's a bunch of factors, of course, the outrage from Diablo Immortal announcements certainly did not help. Not even showing a Diablo 4 logo to help ease the pain here. No. Woof. Ricky, when we run a game studio, as we probably will, we want to do a mobile version of one of our big beloved franchises. So here's the plan. You ready? So we're going to announce and launch our big new game on relevant platforms with cross-platform accounts, as Fortnite has done, but also have a mobile experience in which you can continue to grind loot and make gains on the go. Does that sound pretty good? We will release them on the same day. A bigger, better, companion-style version of the full release with all relevant gameplay mechanics that are tuned for mobile. Boom! $1 billion idea. Everyone's happy. If this is not an April Fool's joke, you all have phones. How's it sound?
That's fine.
All right, $1 billion. Speaking of $1 billion, 2018 is all about the owned and operated platform or launcher life. I know you console peasants don't understand, but hear me out. Ask me years ago, I would have said that all games will be on Steam. It's the place for PC gaming. Well, even less so today. Every publisher, damn near, has its own way to serve you their games, or singular game, I suppose, like Riot has with League of Legends. Although they're called Riot Games with plural, it's confusing. Recently, Epic tossed its own hat in the ring with its own store on its launcher, boasting an 88-12 revenue share compared to Steam's standard 70-30. Once again, it's all about that ass. I mean, cash. Sure, Steam is changing the rates for bigger titles, but only a handful of publishers and a handful of indie titles will realistically crack those ceilings. I would expect more and more publishers to surprise Valve with a strong pull-out game throughout 2019. Hey, Ricky, let's talk about GOTY. Do you know what that stands for?
Goaty.
Get on that yeah train.
Nah, goatee is when you spread your butt cheeks real wide.
Oh, the GOAT. Yeah. Game of the Year. Yeah, that's what it stands for. Well, this year I'm awarding the Garbage of the Year award to Fallout Red Dead Redemption 2.
No, you can't do that.
Overrated. Overrated. Not only did I read countless Kotaku articles talking about unethical work environments and 1,000-hour work weeks demand of every employee, this game has won countless awards from every journalist across the globe, or you're unethical and ousted from the industry. Shills. Currently on Twitch, a little game called Marbles on Stream has more viewers. I had to scroll multiple times to find a channel actually playing this so-called Game of the Year. But shibby. Live stream numbers are not a way to compare a game's relevancy, blah, 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 blah. Less than 3 months ago, this game came out and made $750 million in like an hour. A highly coveted online mode already. Dead. Sad. For something that's the most expensive video game to ever be made, one would think the interest would still be blooming. Graphically on another level. Beautiful sound score, acting, storytelling across the board. Great, but is the game fun to play? No? Oh, the controls for a Rockstar game are still clunky and doing any sort of looting or basic tasks is completely tedious. Yeah, that sounds pretty fucking tight, right, Ricky?
Hey, don't bring me into this.
Did you beat it?
Don't bring me into this.
Yeah, I thought so. The storytelling here is on another level, but God forbid you approach a story mission in a way the game doesn't want you to. Sure, interact with any NPC, but you need to follow this sequence of steps or you can't continue the game. Oh, and you're almost done with an hour-long mission just moseying along on a horse into town to put a big old tramp stamp of completion on a quest. Well, fuck you. An NPC walks on your horse, now you're wanted for murder. GG, mission fails. Shibby, tell me more about the online. Oh yes, the beta online. Everything locked behind paid currency at the rate you earn grindable currency. You can barely feed your character after a 15 or 20 minute mission. PvP is auto-targeting, easy mode, Halo radar, spawn killing, repeat. A grindy, repetitive mess. At least GTA 5 Online has some sort of fun. You know the part with racing cars in the sky on Hot Wheels track? Or blowing up a meth lab with a tank? Or snipers versus planes? Oh, in Red Dead Online, you just ride your horse around and take it all in. Right, Ricky?
Stop bringing me into this.
Sounds breathtaking as a day in, day out type player. The entire online mode has been built to feel like a grind to push you Yes, you, the viewer, into a real-life money shark card economy. Fun. Enough of this, Shibby. What's your favorite game of the year? That's a good question. Easy. Fallout 76. By God, lock this man away and throw away the key. This is the most unethical thing I've ever heard. And I read the failing New York Times. Hear me out, viewer. Fallout 76 is the greatest game of 2018. A game I swore to hate from its announcement. A game in which Todd Howard sold me his lies on a level Sean Murray...
Sell me lies, sell me sweet little lies.
On a level that Sean Murray is envious of. A game that every games journalist or games reviewer online posts hate videos or articles to simply generate clicks. A game that is the lowest rated AAA title of the year. That's true. A game that has generated more hate than No Man's Sky can fathom. And it's a game I simply can't put down because playing it is a beautiful, fun mess. Sure, Bethesda fucked up through its $200 power armor, nylon bag, canvas bag drama. Ouch. Poorly handled support response with essentially, we're not gonna fix this, what are you gonna do about it? Oof. Offering 500 atoms of their in-game currency as a fix-all band-aid for the nylon bag. Bad. Very bad, Bethesda. Also, somehow over 65 bag replacement submissions with personal information getting leaked to other users because their ticket support system error, Zendesk, whatever. Unacceptable. The game has some serious bugs that need to be worked out. It's a mess. However, the core game of exploring and messing around with friends is actually fun. Would I play this game solo? No, definitely not. But every night I go on Discord, I can find buddies to play with, leading to some sort of cooperative experience just fucking around, which is refreshing. Sorry, I'm a little drunk. Yeah. Considering the latest update, I think they can turn this game around to something decent in 2019. Am I saying go buy this game right now? Hell no, but keep an eye on it. All these YouTubers out here blowing the game up, saying shit for views. But I doubt they've experienced the game as far as a full group dropping nukes, farming the queen, blowing up bases, getting awesome 3-star legendary weapons. Probably not, but I have. 76 is like a fallen bird I want to nurse back to health, tossing said bird into the air so it soars and then gets hit by a drone. Can't be worse than winning Sky Forever, right? Well, at least this game isn't Battlefield 5, where they recently changed the time to kill on weapons, in which every player hates and is now quitting. Listening to the community feedback 101. And there, because the Care Bears, they die too fast. Yeah, because the Care Bear community is what the Battlefield franchise thrives on. Yeah. Know what my runner-up is for greatest game of the year, Ricky?
I can take a few guesses.
You don't need to. Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Another game I swore to hate, yet Treyarch is actually doing a badass job taking community feedback and making the game even better. And viewer, they actually are making the PC version not just a shitty console port. Who would have thought that in 2018, Call of Duty on PC would be better than the legendary franchise of Battlefield from DICE? Certainly not me. But shit, Black Ops 4 doesn't even have a solo campaign. Who gives a fuck? Activision has all the data on what they do in their games, all the players, and clearly they know that less than a small percent of players actually buy Call of Duty for single player. If you're that person, viewer, you know what they say to you? Fuck you. Go play something else because you're not the player that returns every night to check out zombies, multiplayer, or the new Blackout Battle Royale mode. Did Call of Duty lose a small percent of the sales because of this? Sure, they don't give a shit. Those solo campaign resources can be pushed in other modes to make them better. It's the smart choice. 2018 has been both one of the best and worst years in gaming in all of history. Great indie titles like Into the Breach, Dead Cells, Dusk, Oberdin can get a lot of love and actually win awards from the industry, which is cool. Super Smash releases the largest roster ever, but only 8 of the original characters are playable at the start of the game. Whew, yikes. Yeah, that's gonna work out really well when the competitive scene kicks up and what you clearly care about so much, Nintendo. Also, your online service is trash and there's no Ethernet port on the Switch for any sort of serious online play. Well done, guys. Good job, Nintendo. Fortnite continues to deliver solid updates to a free Battle Royale game that has literally changed gaming. No other game in history has done cross-platform to this level, literally forcing the hand of Sony to play ball with cross-platform. Cross-platform with both iOS and Android, with your main Epic account that is all synced up. I play on PC, I can squad mate with someone on Switch, Xbox, and phone. That shit is fucking insane, and Epic does not get enough credit for how ridiculous that is. That should easily win Fortnite every multiplayer award possible in 2018. More lows, Like today, Razer having cryptocurrency called Silver, in which you mine crypto on your computer through their new app. And then you redeem this virtual currency for stuff in their store. Yeah, I'm all for being progressive, but this ain't it. Another yikes. I must give gaming in 2018 a 0 out of 10 because surely 2019 will make gaming great again by having less cancerous microtransactions, pay-to-win mechanics, shitty mobile knockoffs, unoptimized PC ports, general use of any cryptocurrency, please, battle passes that feed off young players who then grind out your game and purchase in-game currency because they're so addicted, DLC that was stripped out from the main game in order to sell day one DLC, predatory loot that are all gambling, ugh. Oh, and everyone's leaving E3 like Sony. So, on to 2019.
All right, Elliot, Ian, let's get in here and say goodbye. I'm fucking tired just listening to that.
Woo-wee.
If you stuck around,
I fell asleep. What did he
If
say?
you stuck around, thanks.
Did he say anything good?
Thank you for being with us this year. Thank you for joining us. This TUGS was a gift to you.
Only
for
if you
sticking
paid,
around.
though. Get out of here, freeloaders.
And I'm sure the audio is going to be terrible, but just give us a break. We don't have people working for us anymore. Thank you so much. We will see you in 2019 for more gaming.
Bye.
We